As you see in the title, it says that I am making a mirror a day. And how am I doing that? I am doing Valdos maps. I posted a video before the league started mentioning that I plan to get into Valdos around week 1, which I did manage to achieve. It was a slightly different build than I posted due to the Genesis tree, or whatever the tree is called, just printing good rares. Rare crafting currency was a lot cheaper and overqualified bases were a lot cheaper. So yeah, we managed to get in for a lot. We managed to get in for a lot cheaper on a higher ES number than I was expecting to, right? Here you can see me standing on my gladiator, completely still, not attacking, in a quad ghosted feared, the hardest content in the game. On top of that, it is also 100% reduced effective non-curse auras. So this is not a easy map, you know. This is about as hard as it gets besides quad ghosted deli, right? So there's a couple things I want to go over. First, I want to go over the builds around the budget requirement and why I decided to pivot into this build instead of the other Aegis Aurora build I had. And then also upgrades for the future and some decent maps to run. I'm going to start with the POB of my character when I first entered Valdos and the budget of how much I think it costs to get into Valdos and why I think this is the right character, as I think that's what's going to be asked the most. As you can see on this Gladiator POB, I'll link it in the description. This is my exact POB when I first entered into Valdos. And the nice thing here is how cheap it is. Now, you might see a Mage Blood, you might see a Nimbus and think, well, this is still expensive. But for the content you're doing and considering this league is not really making much money in anything besides Valdos, it is pretty cheap for the amount of money you start making, right? This is quad ghosted viable at this point, and you're doing maps pretty quickly, right? First thing I would like to mention is the only unique required here is this Mage Blood. This Ephemeral Edge is required, obviously, but it is not even corrupted. It's just a regular 15% Ephemeral Edge. That costs you, I don't know, 7 divines for this. It's not corrupted, right? This Eyes of the Great Wolf has gone down in price like crazy. If you can get a decent rolled one for like 10 to 15 divines. And this Nimbus you swap out for Calandra's Touch, which is 15 divines. Slot in Return Proj for one of the gems, probably in place for volatility. And you have a functioning character for what is probably around, I don't know, Mage Blood plus 300 divines, if that, maybe less. This chest cost me 15 divines to fully make. I bought the base with the implicits and finished the finished it for another 9. This helmet, as you can see, cheap. Like I mentioned, overqualified bases are super cheap. These gloves, actually, I went into Valdomass without even realizing I didn't do the implicits on my gloves. Make sure you have non-vol strike skills. I'm probably going to change that, as I'm sure there's going to be some person that's going to be like, oh, I feel like I have terrible clear, and then linking me their gloves and it doesn't have anything. This shield bought for 10 divines. I was lucky. I found it with an int roll. I just sold mine for 35. This exact one, I resold it. So, I mean, you could do that. Besides the point, all in all, around 300, 400 divines plus Mage Blood, and it's quad ghosted viable. It doesn't even have woke gems, right? So I think this is around what you should shoot for. Give or take 1 or 2 KES in either direction. You'd still probably be fine, but this was super comfortable. I was doing quad ghosted right away, no problem. Real quick, I want to jump in for the people that will probably be doubting my statement of making a mirror a day. I have tallied up the amount of time of my VODs from since I got my Valdo farmer up till today, right? It adds up to 32 hours of stream time. If you have been in these streams, the last, I would say about 40% of the stream is me sitting in POB and me just doing random stuff and then also crafting, right? So if we, let's say, conservatively take out 30% of the stream time, it is about 22 hours of gameplay. And in this 22 hours of gameplay, I will go over it in the next section. I'm recording this after I recorded that section. But since I went in, I bought this Ephemeral Edge for 90 divines, this body armor for 130, this simplex for 140, and I crafted this mirror shield fully myself. and I'm sitting on an 112 divines, right? So if you add that up, it took me 21 hours of, or 22 hours of gameplay to be able to afford all that. So that's just my kind of proof to the statement of making a mirror a day. Now let's go over my build where it currently is. I don't have all my auras because I am in the interlude, but I normally sit around 31k, yes, which is 5k more than I entered Valdos with, right? The upgrades I made and in the order in which I made them are, I got an ephemeral edge. Let me remove the ping thing. I got ephemeral edge resolute technique for 88 divines at the time. The reason I did this is because, as you see in the original POB that I linked, if you took a look at it, we have to take these 4 points and this gain accuracy rating equal to your intelligence to have a 100% hit chance, right? And points are very valuable in this tree. As you can see, we're spread pretty tight. I'm trying to move around my points however I can to see what makes most sense, and I haven't noticed anything, but points are really important. We're taking these 4 points, so that ephemeral edge allows you to drop those 4 and start moving around your tree. Next thing I got was a simplex amulet. This actually gives you less energy shield than the eyes of the Great Wolf. The reason this is good is, as you see, the 2% increased damage per 15 intelligence. We're sitting almost at 2k. And since we barely have any increases in this build, this amulet was around, I think, 55 to 60% more damage for my build, right? And if you're not dying in Valdos and you're tanky enough to do whichever maps you want to do for that have good margins, the only thing that scales the amount of divines per hour you make is how fast you do the maps, right? Next, I bought this chest. This is basically mirror tier for me at this point. Unlucky, that got voided. If you play Gladiator, that won't happen to you. This chest is basically mirror tier for me. It is a 28 quality, 15% tailoring. Doesn't get much better, right? So I managed to snag this up for 130 off a trade. And today I crafted this mirror tier shield. It is serviceable for a fee, as this is fully self-funded. I did not take any viewer donations or anything. This is not a bog shield. It fully came out of my currency tab, so there will be a fee on it, but I'm not exactly too sure where it's going to sit at. Probably 30 to 40 divines. If you want to service it for your gladiator, go ahead, but it's not mandatory. The only thing this shield does is it's basically perfect, and the other thing is it enables a Bound by Destiny, which gets you another 1,200 ES, right? And then the shield itself will probably get you an extra 600 ES over what your current shield is. So 2,000 for the combo. It's worth spending a mirror for that, but your choice. If you want to service it, just DM me in game. What else is next? Next, I didn't change much on the tree. I really haven't changed anything on the tree from where it was previously. I dropped Ghost Reaver because when you do quad ghosted, there is a ghosted mod called the Embezzler's Grip, which turns all recovery to 0, right? That means anything that's done over time and is not instantly gained or instantly recovered is kaput. It's gone, right? So leech does not matter unless you path for instant leech, but pathing for instant leech takes at least 5 points. This is the closest instant leech node that's also useful at the same time. And then you have to path 3 points for Ghost Reaver. So all in all, it's like 8 points. I don't think it makes sense. I simply go a gain energy shield per enemy hit discipline mod on my watchers. I have gain mana per enemy hit with attacks on a jewel mod. So that solves my mana problems while fighting Embezzler. I have the quote unquote, technically it's like leech, right? The gain on hit mod from my watchers. And then I also have recover 5% energy shield when you block on my shield. So we are completely fine for Embezzlers, which is probably the scariest mod on quad ghosted. Besides that, I don't really think there's anything to go over for the build. Oh, I would like to mention, if you don't have a Nimbus, your first upgrade should be a Nimbus. You do lose ES, you do lose, survivability, but the damage basically doubles, right? The damage doubles, and then your simplex also is another 50%. So between these two upgrades, you're like 4xing your damage. Yeah, everything else is in the POB. One thing is make sure you get an ul graft. One, it gives you Fizz DR from your breach line. I mean, from your breach bloodline. Number two, it has the 18% chance to gain endurance charge when you are hit. This is basically permanently up as you're standing in the middle of all the mobs. And this is really important for your Immortal Call, which is a lot of survivability for Synthate Slam when you are fighting them. So make sure you have this so you can press your Immortal Call. And if you're timing your Immortal Call and standing still, there is literally nothing in the game that can kill you besides maybe a super increasingly lethal quad ghosted, 5x damage of normal quad ghosted, something like that. All right. The last thing I think I need to go over is the maps that you run and how you acquire them. There's two ways. There is the Omega Giga Chad way of you go to Faustus, you click currency exchange, and you go Divine Orbs, Valdos puzzle box, right? Let's say we buy a couple, and then you just pull a Mage Blood. Well, we tried our best. So that's way number one. Way number two is you buy them. Buying them is a pain in the rear end. And no matter how big your rear end is, it will still be a pain in it. Two reasons. One, people don't list their Valdos maps for any type of normal margins. I can show you right here. We go to Emperor's Mastery, right? We click instant trade or in-person buyout. The cheapest Emperor's Mastery map is listed for 28 divines. We go to Emperor's Mastery and we see that the actual jewel is 28 divines. So you have just some straight up geniuses thinking that I'm going to go risk my character to make no money at all. It's actually quite impressive, right? So to counteract this, you have to live search. You have to find a map you like. You set a price limit to the amount you want to pay for the map, and you just have to have 10 live search tabs open. If this is not something you like to do, Valdo mapping will not be for you. Once you find the maps you like and once you're live searching them, you are also going to have 10 sweaty monkeys like me and like the other players and probably some bots instantly TPing to the same hideout for the same map as you, and you just have to win and get lucky, right? That's the unfortunate matter of it. There is a limited supply of Valdos maps, and there is a bunch of people farming Valdos. So you're not going to get every map, and it's hard to find some good maps, but you can still find them. Personally, I have a niche of doing ultimatum maps, as a lot of the Valdo map farmers are tricksters, and they do not have a lot of block. I am a gladiator with lucky block, and I even have an Azadi's Crest swap out. So if I get Ruin or I get any of these type of ultimatum mods, I can still complete it, unlike some tricksters, which gives me a slight edge, which is one of the reasons I think Gladiator is better, besides it just overall being cheaper to get into maps with, right? So those are your two options. I will point out some maps that have good margins that I think are doable, but once I post this video, or I've already seen the prices getting out of whack, it might not be super possible to buy them. All right, first map is going to be the Amunamu's Gaze map. This jewel is a jewel that will instantly sell for 3 divines, and the map gets listed anywhere from 7 to 10 divines. The one problem with this map is it does bug out a lot. I'm not sure if it's because of Crater. I'm not sure if it's because of the Abyss. There is an issue with this map where you can clear the entire map and you do not get your reward. So I try and not buy this map for over 8 divines, as, if you're losing your reward every 1 in 5 maps or something, and you're only getting a 3 map margin or a 3 divine margin, on your 5th map, you're, back to break even. Here you can see this 10 Divine map has been listed for 3 days. This one's been listed for 7 hours. So you can see people are obviously not buying at this price, but you don't see any listed for 9 Divines and under. Why? Because like I mentioned, people live search them, insta buy them out and run them, right? This is a pretty easy map to get anywhere from 5 to, anywhere from 4 to 6 Divines margins, depending on what you manage to buy it out for. Another pretty easy map that I like to snipe out is the Emperor's Wits map. I like to search these maps at around 4 to 5 Divines, depending on what Emperor's Wit is. The nice thing about Emperor's Wit is it's one of those items that has like a small roll range, but the price in the roll range is very different, right? So you can get a 4% Emperor's Wit and it's like 7 to 8 Divines, and you get a 6% and it's like 10 to 12. I don't understand why, but that's just the pricing of it. So this vault map is a pretty easy map. It's just feared 2 meter. Any decent Valdo farmer should do it. This plaza map's a decent map. Just live search this. Another one is a Celestial Brace map. This silo map right now, as you can see, which insta got bought out. I don't understand why this map is listed for 1 Divine. Oh, it's gone. Okay, perfect. This map I like to run. Celestial Brace is sitting at around 8 Divines, and as you just seen, these maps sell for as low as 4. And if you get a max rolled Celestial Brace, it's up to 20 Divines. So here you just, live search this. Remember, instability, if you stack it up, can be dangerous. So just be careful with your instability procs. Those are 3 maps that every Valdo farmer can run if you have a decent character. If you can't run these maps, then you don't have a Valdo farmer. You just have a slightly tanky mapper, right? So these are 3 maps that you can look out for and start making some decent margins on and start making your upgrades. Besides that, I'm just live searching, as you can see, Progenesis, Nimbus, Headhunters, Magebloods, seeing if I can find any decent margins on any of these super expensive high tier items. Sometimes you can. Finally, I just want to show off my sales history just to prove that, we are selling items and we are running these maps that I say I am. Celestial Brace, Amunamus, as you can see, so many of them. Svalin, Mage Blood, Forbidden Flame, more Mage Bloods, Progenesis, more Mage Bloods, more Progenesis, more Progenesis, Wine of the Prophets, Amunamu's Gazes, Celestial Braces, Emperor's Wits. So you can see I'm telling the truth about the maps I run, right? So those are just the maps that I've been running to make my profit and get to this point where I'm able to make around a mirror a day on super, super hard maps. I think that should be it for the video. I mean, if you have any questions or I didn't go over something that you wanted me to go over, please comment it down below. I'm going to mention it one more time that if you do find success in Valdos and you are on a gladiator and would like to mirror the shield, it is up for service if anybody would want to do that. Besides that, stop by the streams, twitch.tv/electropoe, doing Valdos all day, or at least as long as my Wi-Fi allows me. As you can see, even sitting in hideout, I'm going from 32 ping all the way up to 150. It's really not super playable, but still a good time. We're having fun. Besides that, try not to void, get your blue life as high as possible, and make a lot of mirrors.